Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode number 248 of the Audible Farm Podcast, and this episode is brought to you by the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Go to www.fdfineartsassociation.org to find out more about their cause. The Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association believes that the arts should be accessible to everyone, and so do we, so it's a great match for us. And don't forget to check out their podcast, FDT. They sit down with different people making art and music all around the Fort Dodge area. It's a great podcast. You should check it out. It's on its own channel now, so make sure you go check that out or watch it on YouTube. They got some pretty cool places they've recorded in, so it's totally worth checking out. This episode, I'm sitting down with the Godfather himself, John Waugh. He's the guy who started Three Finger Betty. That's one of the bands that I basically first started playing live in ever. So I do owe quite a bit to him and his vision for a band. We talk a little bit about everything. You know, there's episodes I've talked with John before. We talked about Three Finger Betty and those, but we kind of just do a little update. What's up with that Three Finger Betty album? And, you know, like what's up with the other bands he's playing? He's been doing a lot of stuff lately, so not just Three Finger Betty stuff. And we kind of start to ramble in the middle, and we start talking about pro wrestling and stickers and just all sorts of goofy stuff. This is a fun episode. I spend a fair amount of time with John Waugh throughout my life, and he's such a fun guy to be around. And you know, we don't practice as much as we used to, and I miss hanging out with him the way I used to. And this is just fun. It was like, let's book a time and sit down and hang out. So we just sat down and just had a good old time. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's episode 248 with my buddy and the lead singer of Three Finger Betty, the guitar guy, the Sleepover. I mean, we'll get into it in this episode. It's John Waugh, everybody.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Sit down talking with John Waugh. You've been on the podcast before, and I don't know. Again, I just tell everybody I didn't do notes for this one, so I don't know what episodes and when the last time you were on and stuff. But you've been on the podcast before.
Yes.
All right. So you are the singer and the guy with Three Finger Betty, and that's kind of how we know each other.
Yes.
So that's something we're still doing, but like actually today, as we're recording this, there's a show today that we couldn't make due to some issues with health in the band, so we're going to take a little bit of time off and just kind of regroup a little bit. But other than that, we still have a recording that we haven't really released. That's something else that I think like...
You want to listen to the masters? I can get my phone.
Oh, we should listen to them sometime. But yeah, the thing is, like, I think maybe the last time you were on the podcast, we were talking about these recordings that we had made.
We had probably just made them.
Yeah, I mean, it's been years, but it's just one of those things. This feels like it's been taking a long time, and that's one of the other things like you kind of have to get used to with music. Is like this is like also a hobby for a lot of us, and sometimes it takes a while to get stuff out there, you know. So there is more Three Finger Betty, some new stuff coming out. We just have to do it still.
Yeah,
all right,
pretty much.
Yeah. So what are we talking about? Like, this is the thing. Let's say somebody's listening to this, they've never released an album or whatever. It's like, well, first you got to go find somebody that can record it, you know, with all your stuff. You have to play tight enough that you can get together and record it in a way that you're going to like.
Yeah, there's all kinds of way to record it.
Yeah.
You can just play together and just do it live. You can go track.
Yeah. We prefer doing it live.
Yes.
But we like still isolate everything out and record it isolated. So, and then send it off to get mixed. But it's the same person that's recording it. What's up, Misha? And then the same person it might master it. But I think, did we send this one out to get mastered, or did Misha master this one?
Misha mixed it.
All right.
And it was sort of mastered by me.
Okay. All right. All right. So we've got some mixing, some mastering done. So like those are the things you have to look at, you know, and when you want to like record something. But now we got to look at the other stuff like artwork, and like that's front and back. And if you're going to do like a CD or vinyls, you know, then that was like our last album with vinyls. We just sold out recently of all the vinyls, didn't we?
There might be one.
Okay, so if you didn't get one of the Three Finger Betty vinyls, there might be one.
I'd have to go look in the box, but I think there's one left in there.
I think I might have 2 or 3 copies, so if somebody really wanted one, they might be able to get one of mine, but at the same time, I'm not Sure, I might only have one or two.
And if you're a record collector, they are in random record stores from like Boulder, Colorado down to the Carolinas, depending on where some of us have gone on vacation.
Dude, that's something else that's kind of funny. So, like, how do you get your stuff in record stores across the country? It's like, well, you could, like, do a couple ways. You could just contact them and send it to them, whatever, this, that, and the other. But, like, one of the things is a lot of us kind of in the band, we have other things going on. I don't say, like, travel a lot, but we traveled enough, you know, in the years past where it's like, give me a couple of records, you know. This was mostly you and Clint doing this, but it was like, you take, like, a box of records down somewhere, and it's like, well, I'm going to stop in this record store anyways in, like, you know, whatever, Kansas or something, just somewhere in the middle of Kansas. And it's like, boom, let's stop in here. And then you're like, hey, I've got a band. We're from Iowa. We have these here. And sometimes you just make an agreement with these people. Like, if these sell, just tell me and then send me the money.
Yeah. And it depends on how you feel about it. But most places, independent record stores, if I'm on vacation, there's a record store, I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
And they will usually take them on some kind of consignment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how much do we charge for this? Okay. We keep 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
You get the rest.
Yeah. Sounds good. You know, like sometimes it works out. It's just fun to have your stuff out there and in random places. And it makes, I know for a fact there were like certain times when you would be like, oh yeah, like somebody from, you know, like, let's just say like somebody in Kansas or Nebraska or something, like they were just like, hey, we sold your record. Here you go. Here's whatever, $18 or $12 or whatever it was. And
you get a random Venmo.
Yeah. And it's just like, that's funny. And then you're just like, cool, but also you're like, who bought this?
Oh, I know.
Somebody bought this.
That's the eternal mystery.
Yeah, and it's like super.
Why did they buy that?
Yeah, was it the artwork, or had they heard of us, or did they see it and they look it up and they're like, oh, this is fun, or like they were like, this is an Iowa band I want to support, or like, you know, there's a whole bunch of different things you could think of. So I thought that was something really cool as far as like getting the records out there, because we did sell. I don't even remember how many made. 500. Something, 200, 300?
No, I think it was just 100.
Was it only 100?
Yeah.
Man, okay. So we didn't sell as many as I thought we did, but at the same time.
But we've sold like that many and more CDs.
Oh, at least. I recall, I think I've made 2 orders of the new one.
We're like a quarter in the way to the second order.
Okay, so we've sold over 100 then.
Yes.
Which is also wild, you know, to in theory think we've sold 200 copies of
a thing
that you know, it's like you made it, and everybody else made it, and I was also there helping, you know, make some more of it and stuff, you know.
This is a fun story. I don't know if anybody from the Gravecore has ever been on here, the horror band from East Iowa.
I don't think so.
We played with them with Cancer Slug, I think.
Okay.
But so this was like random a year ago. One of them must have been in Texas. Yeah, the flyers up there.
Yeah, I was going to look around. I see the DRI flyers. That's
and
cool.
I got a random message, and it was the dude. He was in I think it was in Waterloo Records in Austin, and our record was there, and he's like, hey, look what I found.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. Oh man, that's so fun that like I think about that too with like playing enough shows where like we've gone on what I would call like hot streaks. Like when I first joined the band 2017 through like I would say 2020, we'd play like Tuesday afternoon shows. I mean, we'd play everything. You know, there were some years where we played like almost 50 shows, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like that's pretty wild to play that many shows, but it would be mostly in the Des Moines area and a little bit outside. And now we're kind of like branching out into other places to play, you know, different places around the state or in adjacent states and things like that. Just as something to do. But like it reminds me of the time, let's see here. We played a show. I don't remember. I think it might have been at Lefty's, and there was a band that was there from like Las Vegas. And then when we went to Chicago and played a show, that band was also on the same show.
That band was on the Punk Rock Barbecue show we played a few years ago.
Yeah.
Was the show they were on.
Okay, so that was in Omaha.
Yes, and then we met up with them like 2 years later at that Chicago thing.
It was like within months, I want to say. Like
I don't think it was the same summer.
I think it was like because I was
who knows,
dude. I distinctly remember seeing them. Yeah, and that was like at what Punk Rock Tacos.
Yeah, in Via Park.
Yeah, like just outside of Chicago, which was also a hilariously fun time. We're like playing punk music in a taqueria.
In front of families with kids.
Yeah. There's just like families with kids, and they're just like standing on their chair, like looking at you while they're eating a taco with like a blank stare. And it's like, okay. All right, you know, and it's Chicago, so it was mostly Hispanic people eating
Yes.
there. So it's I'm wondering if there was like a language barrier of some sort. Sometimes when you sing, it might be
Yeah, I'm sure there
especially-
was.
especially if you're just like you know, like 'cause some of the songs you never know what's gonna go on. And that was also the fun thing about being on those super big shows like that, where you're just like you don't know what's gonna come next. It could be something really awesome. It could be something really wild. You know, it could be something shocking.
Yes.
And that's like the fun thing. You know, we went down to basically almost St. Louis. We were in, what was the town? Quincy,
Illinois.
Quincy, Illinois.
For what the hell was that called?
I don't recall.
Backwoods Fest or something like that.
Yes, and that was at the VFW there, and that VFW was freaking legit.
That was cool.
Yeah, like the building that we were in on like the side we were at playing music, and then I went to the other side. Like the side we were in playing music was one of the biggest venues I played in, you know, indoor venues at least. So like, I think about like the VFW in Dakota City, it's like, I don't know, say like maybe twice as big at least. Or like if you took like the whole building in the VFW in Dakota City, like that's how big like where we were playing music
the
was at.
room was.
Yeah. So then you go into the other room, and that's where the bar is at. And the bar is like a big building in and of itself. It's like a square, whatever. But then on the back side of the bar is like a catering hall or something like that. And it's at least as big as the place where we played music. And it's like, geez,
it's a
this building was massive.
Big building.
Yeah, they could have had a lot of stuff going on there. And that was fun to go down there and play shows down there and just see who was up. And, you know, like a bunch of people we've never played with, never seen before. And, you know, we kind of just get a feel for what's going on down there.
See if there's a scene down there and whatever's going on.
Yeah, you know, see if somebody's receptive to what we're doing and wants to bring us in. Then you can do the whole like swap shows things,
Exactly.
which doesn't always work, but it does sometimes work. Like there's a few times we've done like with Omaha bands, I know for a fact that have been pretty receptive to it. We've played shows there and they've played shows here and in similar areas. You know, they're not just playing in Omaha, they're playing in the surrounding areas too. So I think that's one of the fun things about doing the show swap. There have been times where we've done show swaps with bands and it hasn't gone the best though.
No. Not to name names, but sometimes it's like,
yeah, you end up like
ooh.
the specific scenario, because like we're not going to name towns either, but like let's just say we went to like a Des Moines sized town in another state that's adjacent, and it ended up being like we go to the show that we're booked on and every band dropped out, including the band that was like supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And we ended up playing with like, honestly, the funny thing was the bands we ended up playing with, I really actually enjoyed them. And I don't want to like say what kind of music they were, but let's just say they were the weirdest combination where like imagine somebody's playing like pop punk and then mixing it with like polka almost, you know, and it's like, what's going on with
I figured
this?
that's what you were thinking.
Yeah. So it was just like, that was kind of cool to see somebody doing that. It's like, I've never seen this before.
They were nuts.
Yeah. So like, but
I don't think they hung around, did they?
They did not.
They left.
Yeah, they just played and left. But at the same time, like, I don't know. That was like a crazy venue too, because I think that was like the downstairs venue. They had bands playing in it when we showed up, and it's like, what's going on here? But it was really small, and they're like, oh, you're playing upstairs, and it's like, upstairs, and it's like,
We
oh
gotta
man,
carry this shit up these
yeah.
stairs.
That was when I like started regretting carrying like a 4x12 and an amp. It's like, sweet, I have to make 6 trips up these steps now with hauling just huge heavy crap. And yeah, now I started bringing combo amps everywhere because why not? But yeah, trading shows is like super fun though, because like you get to, that's like the best way to get to another town is just like kind of doing something like that.
Make
And
friends if you can.
yeah, you know, sometimes there's like-minded people, you know, and that's
Oh yeah.
that's also a good thing to find, you know, because I think that's something crazy is music is so, like there's no barrier of entry to just like pick an instrument up and play it. And then it's like people of all walks of life of all kinds playing every genre of music. Because even like not all the punk guys are the same types of punk guys, you know?
Oh yeah.
You know, and even if I play punk music, maybe they're not even like quote unquote like a punk person, you know, like, so there's like a lot of that kind of stuff where everybody has this real identity like away from the shows where it's like, can I actually get along with this person if we just like turned on the TV and picked a show or like a sports thing or like whatever, like can you vibe with them, you know? And I don't know, that's the other fun thing. Like we played a show at where was the last place we played a show at in Des Moines here? What was that bar called? I forgot it already. Maggie's Rumble Room was what it was.
Yeah, we played with Rumors.
Yeah, that place was freaking sweet. They had like different things going on different TVs, and it's like there's no audio to it because you're in a bar, but it's just like, oh sweet, Terminator's playing over here. They got like metal music videos going over here. You know, just kind of fun stuff. You know, I think that was kind of a fun show. I stuck around pretty late for that one, and then
Random cool things all in the same spot.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I found. Like the older I get, the less long I stay at shows. Where it's like I've stayed till whatever, but now like I try to make it to like we're almost always opening shows because we're trying to find different bands to play with, and they're usually like established, so it makes a lot of sense to kind of have us open up the shows. But the point I'm trying to make is like when I'm done, I pack all my stuff up, and it's like, man, I usually have to work the next day, and it's a long drive, you know, at least 2+ hours, you know, after this. So then I try to think of like when's the best time to leave. But lately I've been staying all the way to at least halfway through the headliners because, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you're just sticking around where you're just like, yeah, the second band is always like my favorite because I usually don't know anything about them. We played in Waterloo recently. I don't remember the name of the second band there.
8 Found Dead.
Yeah, freaking sweet. Like that was something I was just like, all right,
some kind of metally.
Yeah, metally,
stuff.
punky thing. Some guy was playing a guitar hooked into some bass stuff, or a bass hooked into some guitar stuff, or something. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that was wild.
That was a good show.
That was wild, you know. And that's one of those things I always just kind of go in blindly, like, is this going to be any good? And then when you like a band, you're like, this is freaking fun. Like, what are they doing? The guy playing like the lead guitar was just like shredding like crazy, and it's like, this is some wild stuff. I wonder how many people think, like, not necessarily. I'm not trying to be like conceited. I wonder how many people think that about us when we start playing, because it's like we play a lot of punk shows, right?
Yeah, I quit thinking about that for some reason a long time ago. But it's weird.
Yeah,
I remember when we sort of seemed like the redheaded stepchild, if that's still acceptable to say.
Yeah,
we were on all these shows, and it's not that these bands were mean to us or anything, but I can remember
not even at all.
kind of being brushed off and like, okay.
Well,
and then all of a sudden we're 3 songs in, and they're watching us doing the classic musicians compliment, you know, the arms crossed, staring at us.
It's like they look at us like a dog when you say like, "Do you want to go?" And they're like, "Huh?" Like they're just like, what? Like it's just kind of weird because like the funniest thing about Three Finger Betty is like funny band name. What's up with that? I don't know. Like next question is just like, what are you guys' inspiration? It's just like everybody plays different stuff, and we just kind of add in what we feel, and so you get like crazy like punk but metal drums, you know, and then you get like shreddy guitar solos that are not normal to punk music, you know, and everything's usually pretty fast paced. And I draw a lot of like what I play to your music to like rhythm metal type stuff and rhythm guitar for like a lot of pop punk bands I listen to and whatnot. So there's just I add in my own little ditty bits here, and then you know we've changed bassists, and you know Geoff, our second, you know, the second Jeff bassist versus Jeff.
Yep.
So like those two, they play differently, but they both complement the style well enough where it's just like this fits.
It still works and
fits, you know, and that's kind of the best part about it is it's this weird mishmash of like maybe 3 or 4 styles.
Yeah,
and then,
that's why it gets hard to call it punk after a while, because I don't know. It's just rock and roll.
Antisocial punk is what we just call it, just to, you know, online. That's just kind of like the name of it.
Put something there.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, that's close enough. But we found ourselves playing with a lot of punk bands. You know, we fit in with metal bands, and then there's the weird stuff where it's like, oh, we're gonna do it. We're booked on a show. We have this much time. We played the set list. We have 4 minutes left. We're gonna do the jam at the end, and it's like, you kind of I usually just don't plan for it anymore. But we used to do it all the time, and that's something where like when we start playing the jam now, it's like, oh snap, here we go. And the jam is usually just like click on all your effects pedals and just start getting like real weird with it. And it's just something where I feel like a lot of bands, when they see that, they're like, whoa, what is this now? You know, like what are they doing with this now?
We had to back off of it so people forget we do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I used to joke around that we were like the best jam band that wasn't a jam band. Like, I don't know, we would just play these jams, which like the theme song to Audible Farm is a clip from a jam, like one of our jams it
was at the Underground Rock Shop, I think.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
when it was not in Merle Hay Mall, when it had a room.
Yeah, and it was in it was in the other room.
That's right.
Because we usually walked in, you went to the right, and that was the room we almost always played in.
It had to move around a little bit, I think, because that building was, you know, falling apart.
Oh man, the shows.
The landlord was not going to do anything about it.
The amount of shows that we've played, and that's the other thing I think of is just the memories of stuff like that, where it's like the amount of shows we played in there. Like I remember going there playing shows, and like I showed up, and it's you know, we're early. We're always plenty early to these shows, but it's like it's too hot in here to play a show. Like, and I'm in here with like a full cotton, like thick shirt. Like, no. So then you just like, you run out and you go to like Target or something and get a different shirt, and you're just like, all right, this is good enough, whatever. Just rip the sleeves off and, get like an $8 shirt just to make it easier than just standing in like the no air conditioning building.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. Those, again,
It's a little sweaty.
But those shows are fun though too. I sit and think about, like, I don't know. It's oddly, you have these fond memories of it. You're just reminiscing about it, and I don't know.
What's fun, I guess, for me, is to think about a lot of bands we played with on shows like that, and they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
I happened to, it was a band we used to play with called the Sexually Aggressive Silverbacks that came to my mind. So I got online and their stuff's out there, and I was like, oh man, this stuff's funny. It's so dumb, but it's funny. And then I'm talking to Clint, I'm like, if they're listening, we should find these guys. I'm like, can we play a couple of these songs?
Dude, let's do it. I'm in 100%. There's a few of those songs where, like you said, there's some that are like fun tongue in cheek. There's some that have neat little riffs in them that keep like you chugging along. But for the most part, and this is not an insult,
no,
it's just a very, very dumb story that's like a verse
really
long.
Funny.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious, because like, who would write a song about this? These guys would. And it's like, when you get done listening, you're just like, this is insane. Like, what's their next song gonna be? And guess what? It's equivalent. It's the same thing.
More the same.
Yes, and you just I can't believe people can keep writing music like this, and they would just keep chugging out these like wild songs. Like, what the hell is this? What is this? Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any hooks that are. I can think of a couple, but they're probably not something I want to like say on my own podcast. But at the same time,
parental advisory.
Yes.
Lyrics for sure.
But at the same time, yeah, go look them up. If their stuff's still around, go check them out. They're super funny.
It was on Apple Music.
I do know for a fact, and this is going to sound weird, but I look at the stats every now and then on Audible Farm, and like every now and then people will find Sexually Aggressive Silverbacks songs because they have like funny titles that are like weird that I have on the Audible Farm channel, that because I could see like people search for like this weird content and ended up finding a Sexually Aggressive Silverback song
Perfect.
By accident. Perfect. So it's freaking hilarious to me to see that like that's a thing too. So there are some songs on the Audible Farm YouTube channel as well. So if you want to check those out, some live videos back in the day, how it all started.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean,
my hair was probably long.
Yeah, and I might have had a little bit more of it, but at the same time, I doubt it. Yeah, those were like the days. I look at like using different pieces of gear and trying to find like the sound, and we all kind of like settled into like our ways a little bit, where it's like, I'm just going to use a combo amp and this guitar and maybe a pedal, and you're kind of the same way. You're like, these are the pedals I like to use, and every now and then you kind of, every handful of years you do the Tone Quest thing and then find a different amp, and like you don't switch guitars too often.
And then it still sounds the same somehow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, I think about that, like, to the naked ear in these venues, when somebody mics it all up with like an SM57, can you really tell the difference that much?
Probably not.
To the normal, just somebody sitting out there, their normal ear. I don't know, but whatever. We all have our things. I think some of it is just the feel of it. It's like driving a car. It's like I think about that as like the equivalent of like playing a guitar. So like, imagine you're driving a car, and we're all good at driving cars for the most part. We all think we're good at it anyways. we all probably suck too, but
your insurance rate will tell you.
Yes. Okay, there you go. Maybe. But yeah, so you get good at driving your car, and then somebody's like, yeah, just hop in my car and drive it. And you're sitting there and you're like, it's the same thing, but it's different. Mm-hmm. It's just different enough where it's a little bit goofy at first.
Yep.
And then you kind of get used to it, and then you just go with it. And that's the same thing with like using different guitars or different amps or like whatever. It's like,
I don't like the way the neck on this type of guitar feels. I like it better on this.
Yes.
They're both pieces of wood with wires and strings.
Yeah. And it does the same thing. The output is the same. It just feels different to quote unquote drive this guitar than it does that guitar. Or this amp responds differently when I hit the pedal. That's the other thing. Like, you can kind of feel where it's at in your chain.
Yeah.
What you're missing out on and what you're not missing out on. But yeah, we kind of just been rambling through this, but let's just kind of curb the Three Finger Betty talk for just a little bit, because we got like a couple other things. You've been doing other stuff. Sleepover still, right? Correct?
Yes.
All right. So you've played some shows with them too in other places that aren't Des Moines as well, right?
Yeah, we just went to Keokuk,
Oh, cool.
Iowa, down in the south east corner on the tip there.
Nice. So you went through Keokuk twice recently.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. How far?
And that was all right. I had some amp problems, but it worked out.
Yeah, what's the deal with that lately? You seem to have been having some amp problems.
I don't know, because I don't know enough about the technical side of it. I just play the things.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, there's a cat in the screen.
Hi.
That's the bonus. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a cat in here. So I'm not cutting it out. We're just leaving it in. But yeah, I've run into that a couple times with certain amps, and I had like one person that was an amp tech that I took an amp to one time, and they were really good. It was like somebody that I knew that had a guitar shop, and they're like, if it's not a simple fix, I send it to this person, and they know what to do. And it's like, okay, what's up, kitty? But yeah, so that person no longer does this. They passed away, so I don't know where to send guitar amps to anymore to get them like fixed up, unfortunately.
There's people around Des Moines. I'm sure people I know have amp people.
Yeah, just need to get a hold of them
there
and do it. Yeah. It could be something just like really simple though too. It makes you wonder like,
Well, it started working again, so I wonder if it was just the fuse or if something got overheated.
yeah, or cable that just like when you twist it the right way, it doesn't do what you think it's going to do.
Cable issue, I don't know.
Yeah, go back and listen to some of the old Audible Farm episodes, like maybe about 10 or 15 back, and I had some of those issues, and I was like, fine, screw it, I'm just buying all new cables. And sometimes that's the solution if you don't want to like spend the time to cut a cable apart and fix it or whatever. But I don't know, that's the other thing. You just test it with other ones. I have enough cables now, luckily, that if a cable's the issue, I can just swap it out. But I haven't had too many cable issues lately, and I'm pretty lucky about that.
That's good.
Yeah, I've also been bringing my guitar pedal board with like less and less when I play shows, and I think it's something I just got used to playing at like jams where it's like it's easier if I just have an amp where it's like it has clean and distortion, and then you just dial it in how you want because there's only the regular knobs, you know. And so like I think that's easy enough for everybody to just go in and play with it how they want, not have them give them like, oh, here's a delay and a reverb and a chorus and a flange, and you know, like they don't need all this stuff. And if you can actually turn the volume pedal down and the tuner still works, you know, like they don't need that crap on the floor. It's just distracting. So just give them the amp. Then I just got used to doing that when I would play live too, where it's like, oh, I'm just playing a small show, or if this is just like I'm playing acoustic, but this is a backup in case somebody else shows up or something fun happens. Which I've done that a couple times where it's like, oh, I'm busting out the electric fella, like the second half of a show, some of those things. But
now I'm to the point I'm like, okay, this is the guitar to play with this band, and this is
okay,
the.
So you've picked guitars for certain bands,
more or less,
yeah. So you've been playing a lot with Sleepover. Do they have like new music coming out? Does Emery like? You guys still write
I think
music?
Emery has a new 7-song EP CD in his possession.
Okay.
The health issues, they're mine, affected both bands, so we won't play for a little bit. But the next time we play, there will be new Sleepover CDs.
Nice. So that's coming up maybe in the next couple months or whatever. So like make sure you check back. Man, this cat is majestic. So make sure you check back on all the social medias. So I'm going to put obviously Three Finger Betty social media down below, and also Sleepover. So what was like the writing process on that? Were you involved in that, or was that something that Emery does a lot of by himself?
I refuse to write anything lyrically for that band.
Okay.
So Emery does all that.
Okay. So make sure your vibe is not getting mushed into two bands.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so a lot of it was, okay, I got this piece of music. Do you want to use that? I got this thing, and I'm thinking of this. And then Emery had some, like on the CD, I guess the longer, more psychedelic, trippier stuff is what I wrote music wise or came up with. It's a lot like Betty. Nobody's telling anybody what to play.
Yeah.
And like I really only I came up with one, fast song, I guess, and then Emery did the others, and there's one song on there called Whack, which hopefully I didn't step on his toes, but Emery had this little thing he was doing, and then I said, well, let me go home and take that. And then that became just like a transition part of the song, and it's this whole other arrangement and chord progression. But so that was a little more collaborative.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so you still do some collaborative work over there. That's pretty cool.
The fun part, and the challenging part of that is you go in with a group that has 2 CDs worth of material established. So it's like, well, you can't crap all over their stuff. You got to learn it. Yep. Somebody wants attention.
The cat's happy. This is a good story. The cat loves it. Yeah, I mean, that's something, you bring up a good point. You know, you go into somebody else's band, you know, essentially, which is what kind of what happened. You know, they already had music written and albums out. You can't just be like, we're this now. You know, you can't just,
that's not you,
take over and change. You know, it's somebody else's artistic vision. Not that it's not yours, because you're contributing to it, but it's, you know, it's Emery's, you know, artistic vision for the most part. You know, obviously Clint is, you know,
plays drums.
He's inputting as well. But yeah, it's still like everybody's got input in the band. You know, but it's still like, it was originally this thing that Emery was like, how about this?
And Clint was not the original drummer either.
Oh wow, really? So everything's changed around Emery.
Let's tell this story because it's kind of fun. So before Clint was the drummer for Three Finger Betty, a man named Jason Warden was, and he is no longer with us. We don't need to go into that.
Okay.
But he left, and Clint came aboard, and Emery was starting the Sleepover up, and he ended up being their first drummer for a little bit.
Oh wow.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason he didn't want to keep doing that, and so Clint replaced the same guy in 2 bands.
Oh, crazy. That's wild. Well, Clint has at least, you know, moonlighted with most bands. You know, not every
over
band.
10.
Yeah, like it's pretty wild. Like currently, I can't remember if we looked it up. 1, 2. If you count Three Finger Betty and the Sleepover, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5. What I would call 5 active bands, like actively outplaying shows bands. If you count Three Finger Betty and Sleepover, like that's freaking wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a drummer, you know, I think you're like the luckiest person in the music scene because everybody wants a drummer. Every drummer's in like 5 bands. But also, I wonder if the drummers go through that where they're like, I can't crap all over the other drummer style, or if they're just like, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know how that works. I think that's a different monster.
I think in Clint's case, in Sleepover, they hadn't recorded anything, so he could probably just come in and do whatever he wanted.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that was like the weird thing about joining Three Finger Betty is like 3-piece, like always been a 3-piece, and then bring in a 4th person. So it's like I had this thing of like, I can't change this too much, but I can also like add whatever I want because I'm the new piece. So like, I could just show whatever additions into whatever's going on here. A lot of times I just, in a sense, double what you're doing to some capacity. You know, we have things where we play like slightly different chords, but a lot of times we're just doubling each other in the general sense. But yeah, I don't know. That is kind of a weird concept. I guess I never really thought too much about that, like getting into another band and trying not to like crap all over it, like you said, you know.
Yeah.
But you've been doing other band work with other bands, so you've been playing with Morbo or like something that Morbo has been doing?
Yes.
All right. So
we were getting ready to make our debut, but
oh yeah, I gotta wait on that now.
Yep.
So like, I hope I didn't let the cat out of the bag before you guys had like kind of announced you were going to play a show, and then
we'd announced it. So.
Okay. All right. So the cat is out of the bag in some sense that Morbo was going to play a show, but like
due to tariffs, we are unable to perform.
That is freaking gold.
That was what Morbo posted.
Of course he did.
Apologizing online for not performing.
Oh my gosh. I don't feel one way or the other about any of that crap, but holy cow, that's funny. Like, good stuff. Dude, the other day, this is what I thought about, was like Morbo had the Morbo show, which was like, there's 2 episodes of it.
Yeah.
And they're both so freaking funny. I went and found them the other day and watched them again and just laughed and laughed and laughed. And like, everything he does online as Morbo is just funny. So like, shout out to Morbo.
Yep.
I did an episode with Morbo, and like, I would say 90% of it he was in character.
Yeah, and their songs are fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah,
they mix metal into it, and
yes, like hardcore,
whatever fucking core it
punk,
is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah, getting to know some of the lyrics and stuff, and like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, dude.
Skinheads on mopeds. That's a good one.
Oh, dude, that feels, and I don't want to say like that feels like it'd be right up your alley, but like just writing lyrics that are just like just there just to be funny, or they're just loony, or like they're very serious, but at the same time they're just like so tongue in cheek and dumb that like the whole point sometimes just gets bypassed when somebody listens to them. Like I'm thinking like the song "Great Again" used to be one where people like roll their eyes at us. It's like, you don't get it. Like we're talking about how like it's not even really picking on 100% picking on Donald Trump. It's just the way that it is. We're just picking on politics,
picking on the
system and how it works, and somebody's going to get in charge. And
I don't know. I'm picking on the narrative, I guess.
Yes,
how it's sold.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is people miss it, and they miss the point because the chorus is like basically us singing "Great Again," and people are like boo, or like they miss it, like, why are you singing that song?
Playing a small town, they're like, yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, so like that's some of the stuff I feel like sometimes the point of the song gets missed on people, and that's, some songs are just there to be funny.
And sometimes it's part of the fun.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's weird writing those lyrics. My contribution I have to the Morbo set to the song is called "North Korean Shit Attack."
Yeah.
About when they sent the balloons in response to the propaganda balloons. South sends up, and they were filled with human waste.
Really?
Things like that.
That's crazy, dude. Okay,
So we have a whole like 48-second song about that.
48. That's classic. Yeah, perfect for that style of music. So like this is something crazy, and I got into like just researching like the history of countries and areas. Like I took a Japanese cultures class, and I was like, holy cow, I didn't know anything about this, and so like that kind of piqued my interest about like what was the histories of all these countries like, and how are things going on over there. And you listen to podcasts, and you start to hear like news and stuff depending on what podcast you listen to. But apparently in North Korea for a long time they were having like a poop tax, where like you had to like pay your taxes in poop or something like that,
or to be
like,
able to.
Yeah, and there was all like a whole thing where like they were trying to like fertilize crops or something. Like I don't remember exactly what, but the government wanted your poop, and then people were stealing poop, and so maybe those poop balloons, the poop balloon attack has like a double meaning,
maybe.
Like even deeper. Like I have no clue. That's just freaking hilarious. But yeah, that place is a wild scene, man.
Yeah, you don't want to go there.
No. Well, it's crazy.
I do not recommend travel there.
You can pull up like Google Maps at nighttime, and it's just dark. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, that's pretty wild. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really like a world traveler, but I have traveled, and it's just fun to go other places and see what they're like. So not that I would go to North Korea, but South Korea, sure.
I don't think as Americans we're allowed to go to North Korea.
I don't know if anybody really is supposed to go there, right? I don't think anyone's supposed to go there. I think they just look at everyone. They're like, no, thanks, please.
I think if you go there, you're basically under constant surveillance and chaperoned.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched a documentary on it where they did that, where they like let somebody come in and tell a story from outside the country.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. They had just chaperones like leading them around.
You will be told what to say, and when you...
Oh, yeah. I remember what sparked all this. It was like some wrestling show they did there in like 95.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like I remember seeing
Ric
that
Flair thing.
Yeah, there was like I think there might have been a Vice documentary on it or something. Yeah. But yeah, I started like looking into that, and it was just like, I can't believe they let wrestlers go up there and wrestle. Like, what is that all about? And like you said, it was like Ric Flair, and mostly it was like Antonio Inoki that kind of spearheaded all of it.
The largest live wrestling audience of all time, because attendance was mandatory.
Yeah, it's something like 200,000+ or something.
Yeah, of people who are there against their will.
Yeah, oh my god,
who don't have any idea what they're watching.
Yeah, or maybe they do, or maybe probably don't actually, honestly. But like what a spectacle though! Like to imagine, just imagine this: if you're in a place that's sheltered, and you don't know what pro wrestling is, and somebody shows up and they're like, "You have to go to this," and you go to it, whether you're made to or not, whatever. But you just go to it, and you're like, "What is?" like, who are Ric Flair and Antonio Inoki? And then you're watching them battle, and you're like, who are these gladiators? What are they doing? This is crazy.
Happening?
Yeah, like, I feel like the spectacle of it all, like, just in general, like, I've only had that a few times, like, watching pro wrestling, because I remember it's from such a young age where I, like, it's just something that happened. I just remembered it was being, you know, it was being a thing. I barely remember the first time being exposed to it and being like, whoa. But I remember, like, as an adult, I go through phases of watching pro wrestling. And, like, sometimes I'll watch it a lot and I'll get burned out on it. And I start just looking at it like somebody that is like, dude, what the heck are they doing? These guys are all just greased up and there's pyro going off all over the... You know, I'm like watching 90s WCW. Like, how much money are they going to spend on pyro? What is this all about? You know, and just dumb stuff. And then, you know, I get burned out and I quit watching it for a while and I come back to it. But, yeah, I feel like I'm coming around to wrestling again. I don't know.
I watch I guess they call them PLEs now.
Oh, premium live events.
Try to, I can't do the weekly stuff. It's just too much.
Dude, I feel kind of the same way. I don't feel like anything moves fast enough or maybe it's just different now based on the culture that weekly shows used to be the best, you know? And then when you go back and look at them, you're like, these kind of sucked too. You know, like,
I think, I don't know.
How many times I got to watch Lex Luger and Buff Bagwell fight each other on WCW Nitro?
It's the same thing. You get old enough, I take it, leave it, come and goes in phases.
Yeah. And there's certain things that I see like clips of and I'm like, I got to watch this. Or like I watched like the last Royal Rumble and the last WrestleMania. And I try to just watch those, you know, the big shows just to kind of get a vibe for what's still going on or who's there. Or like, lately, I've started watching a lot of like documentary channels on YouTube where it's just like some dude like narrating clips of stuff and like telling about the story of CM Punk going from WWE to AEW and then back and blah, 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 you know, like whatever. And so I still kind of have like a connection to like this story that's happened and what happened to him in the different companies and who new people are and stuff. But it's still, I don't know. I'm not connected to it like I was 10 years ago.
No, I'm not at all.
You know, I mean, you weren't like crazy deep into it 10 years ago like I was, but you still knew like the people that were, you know, oh, these are the people that are famous enough that they're going to get on TV in like the next year or two, probably, you know, like we still knew those. I mean, nowadays it's just like I have no clue who any of these new people are.
Yeah, 10 years ago I knew who was wrestling in the NWA.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. That's hilarious. There's people out there that actually like love wrestling. They're like, who's the NWA?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I remember the NWA being a big deal.
Yep.
And it really wasn't a big deal when I remember it being a big deal. You know, unfortunately, it was like the number 4 company in America, which is kind of crazy to think about that.
Yeah, I guess it was.
You know, I don't know. Wrestling's just weird. I think about like, there's always the WWF or the WWE, you know, in most people's minds, at least since like the late 80s until now. We'll just say that's like the thing, the big one. But like WCW came and went. TNA still kind of exists.
There always has to be a number 2 company somewhere.
Yeah, there seems to also always be a number 3 company, but it's weird how it ebbs and flows from there, like being one to not being one to, you know, like it almost doesn't exist, or it's there but like nobody's paying attention, even though big things are happening in the general sense of wrestling.
Yeah,
you know, like
it's like major and minor leagues, I guess, and that's not to denigrate.
No,
but like you can watch TNA shows like, oh, that guy, he's gonna,
you're
gonna see him on WWE one of these days,
or AEW at least. But like, you know, I feel like there's just different types of wrestling out there, and I don't know. TNA is funny because it's just like it gets brushed aside. But I remember when TNA was like really good, like when it first kind of came out, the first few years, you know, and they tried all these different concepts and things, and it was kind of junky, but it was really like the matches were crazy if you watch them isolated. Unfortunately, like some of that stuff runs into, if you watch it weekly, it's like it's the same thing kind of sometimes from week to week.
Yeah,
they run out of ideas, or the ideas are like
they're following the formula.
Yeah, it's weirdly old school stuff mixed in with weirdly new school stuff, and it's like, okay, but I guess it still kind of works, you know. And you know, think like Ring of Honor was a thing for a while, and that's kind of gone. That was like the number 3 company for a while, and now it's like TNA, AEW, WWE, and there are other companies out there that are doing things that are pretty cool, you know. But I'm not driving to shows like I used to, you know, and I'm not following companies on Twitter and keeping up with their events live on Twitter, you know, like I used to. I wonder if it's still the same way it used to be, you know, because like it used to be like that. You'd go like get on Twitter on Friday night and you could be able to see like what the companies in Chicago are tweeting about what's happening at their show. Or there was a fan in the show that was doing that, and that's, I was that guy in Des Moines. I just tweet like what was the events real time as it would happen, and just kind of see like what was going on. I don't really go to shows anymore, but I did go to a show recently.
Local wrestling show in a long time.
I went to one in Algona not terribly long ago up near where I live, and I drove up there because I was like, oh, sweet, there's a show. It's a cage match. Cool, let's go up there.
Was it actually cage mats or just one fence?
No, it was
mounted?
a cage. Yeah, they had a fence.
That happened once here.
Oh, wow, really?
They advertised a cage match, and it was just one side. It was just a fence to ram the other guy into. It wasn't even a cage. It's like,
no, this was a cage.
They wonder why people were booing.
No, this is a full-on cage. It was hilarious. I've been to enough wrestling shows, and I know like promoters and trainers and wrestlers and stuff, and it's funny because they were like, we're all going to set up the cage, like couple of us, or the wrestlers were going to go out there in their like street clothes, and some of the people that are in the back, they're trainers and the owners of the companies and stuff. They're like, hey, you want to help us haul some stuff up? I was like, sure, I guess. So like I helped set up a cage at a wrestling show. Like it's pretty wild.
Hey, you got to go backstage.
Yeah, basically. So it's just kind of something funny that I don't know. It's also fun to see like some of these people. There's a few of them that I remember from like 10 years ago when they were first starting, and to watch them now and they're like, now they're the ring generals in the company, they're the people like main eventing stuff. And it's like, cool. It's cool to see some of them, still stuck with it, and we'll see how good they became, because you get to watch like where they started sometimes.
Oh yeah. And it's almost the same with local bands. People that really like it, stick with it.
That's true. Yeah.
They may or may not ever make it on what outside eyes would consider making it, I guess. But
yeah, some of it's just you find your lane and you go with it.
Yeah.
Again, like I feel like some of it is, like you said, longevity. If you just do the thing long enough, like by virtue, it's just like these guys have been around forever. They're legends. Like just because they've been around forever.
These guys are still doing it? Yeah. Holy crap.
Well, I think about that with like other bands where it's like when you get really into like 80s hair metal, you can start picking up bands where it's like these bands were cool. It's like they never headlined a good tour anywhere. They were always like an opening band somewhere. So it's not like they didn't do anything cool, but it's like they weren't one of the bands that were out there drawing money big time and doing the stuff, but they could fit in with them, and that was the benefit of having those types of bands around. But, that's, were they successful? Heck yeah, they were successful. But like, was it compared to other things? Was it really what you want to call success? Man, maybe not. That's no different than what, kind of to a sense what we're doing. And kind of like I was talking about, we've played these shows in like Omaha, like that live show we played, that live studio show in Omaha.
Yep.
Like that's fun. That's on, I think, Bandcamp for sale, and that's on YouTube, I believe. YouTube. So like, yeah, there's all these things like that where I think like we've done these weird like one-off shows in certain places, or like places that don't exist anymore, or like they've changed ownerships and have a different name and they don't do what they used to do there. And
exactly.
I don't know, just the big ones, obviously Vaudeville Muse, like miss that place. Man, I remember like going, like I've been going to shows. I had been going to shows there for almost 20 years. It's so wild to think.
I know. I moved back here in mid 2000s, and like, where's the cool? Oh, okay.
This is the place.
Here's where you go see shows.
Yep. Yeah, and I remember. I think I was like 16 as a kid driving down to a show here once by myself. Good times. Yeah, it's kind of weird how like I always thought that like pro wrestling was a great analogy for like real life. Like in some weird way like that, because we just like related it to music, and oddly music is like a similar vibe. It's one of those arts things where it's like everybody loves this and they enjoy it, but they kind of take it for granted at the same time.
Yeah.
Most art is that way though.
Yeah.
It's just
you can't control, I guess. You do your thing and put it out there. Okay, it's out in a market of whatever it is. You can't control it at that point.
Yeah, like I mean, even just think like that tapestry that's on the wall behind the camera, like that's freaking cool. But like, had I not actually sat down and tried to like appreciate it, I never would have.
It would have just been there.
It would have exactly, and it still would have been cool, but I wouldn't have noticed. And sometimes that's what it comes down to, which is weird because that comes down to like marketing bands, and like marketing your band is kind of a tough thing to do. I remember when we had the first Betty album came out or whatever, and I don't remember like. So basically what I did was I just found like anything online I could make a meme out of with the Betty album, and I started doing it, and it was funny to me. Mm-hmm. Like I really didn't care what other people thought, but it had a weird effect on like the amount of following we had on Facebook for a while, where it's like people are noticing these and like sharing them more often than other posts. And I haven't made memes or anything like that in a while with anything we've done, but I feel like there's certain ways to market bands. Like that's one of them, just at least staying active online, having a presence, supporting others. That's something I think, like, because now you do most of the posting on the social media, so you share a lot of other bands' stuff. I think that's one of the best things you can do, where it's like, we're not playing anywhere this weekend, but these guys are. Go check them out. They're right down the road,
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do that. And I get where some bands wouldn't want to do that, but just showing that support is a great way to market as well.
It's a friendly enough competition, but at this point, there's not enough of us. We don't need to crap all over each other. We should, we should show up to each other's things and try to get along. And
if they were like
do more,
if there were 40 rock, punk, metal bands in Des Moines playing regularly, then maybe you can have some competition. But like right now, it's like, I don't know, I could probably name like 5 in each category, that are actively playing shows. So it's not as easy as it used to be I don't know. I never really found the positive side of being negative, I mean, it sounds dumb when you say it like that, but there's no upside to it, really.
Yeah.
And I listened to a podcast recently, and this is sound crazy, but it was with Dave Mustaine, and he's talking about like if you're in a room and there's, okay, pardon the French here, but if you're in a room and there's 2 other people, like, and they're assholes, chances are you might also be an asshole, just by virtue of proxy of being around them. So like, if you surround yourself with better people or more supportive people, you're going to end up with better things coming out the backside. It just kind of makes sense.
Definitely.
But marketing is one of those things. We talked about it earlier, and I mean, like, I got them right here. There's Audible Farm stickers, but
stickers.
But
I'm not good at marketing.
No, we've got 3 Finger Betty stickers though too, and that's something I always thought stickers were a great way to market stuff. I look at stickers. Everybody sees stickers. They're in the backgrounds of things. They're like, even if it's subliminal, it's not like you're like looking at a sticker and then taking a picture and then going and figuring out what it is later. But you notice this thing.
Yeah, if you see it around, you're like, okay.
You start to see it everywhere.
There is a thing.
Yes. And it's not like I'm just maybe it's because I stick stickers places, but I like look at stickers when I go into venues, and I'm like, I wonder what this thing is. And there have been times where I've been to like 3 or 4 venues, sometimes in different towns, and you see the same band sticker, and you're like,
and that's always fun.
Yeah. And then you're just like, okay, this band exists, and they probably play something similar enough to what we're playing that we should see who they are and what they're doing,
Or you got to look at the stickers, find a name of a band that you think is funny or cool, and you never heard of them. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go look that up later.
Yeah. I used to, like, way back in the day with Audible Farm on the Instagram, like, just take pictures of stickers in a venue and then try and find every single one of them I could on Instagram and tag them in it, and then just be like, boom. Like, that was it. It's not like a picture of me in a bathroom. It's just like a picture of the, the towel dryer, at gas lamp or something, Yeah. So like just something like that.
Yeah. The Lefty's back door.
Yes.
Yeah. The mural of stickers.
Dude, I remember there's an Audible Farm sticker on there, still visible. I think there were 2 on there and one got covered up, but there's another one on there that's still visible. But that thing, I remember putting it on there. There was like 20 stickers on it. Now it's top to bottom, almost to the bottom.
It's covered.
It's freaking hilarious. But yeah, that's all it is. You just find where somebody stuck another sticker and just slap another one up there next to it. And I think it works really well. You've always had stickers in stock. I think it's one of those things. We found a couple sticker companies we like to go through that are good enough that, suit our needs, or their cost is good enough. And we'll just go buy stickers. And it's like, oh, there's a sticker deal. It's $20. Like, you buy one, I'll buy one. Now we've got stickers for the next half a year. Or whatever.
Exactly.
And so like, we'll just do that a couple times a year. Yeah.
That's all I do. It's like, okay, they're running the really good special this month.
Yeah.
So.
I guess I'll put $20 in and I'll do it. Why not? And we'll do a different design this time. How about? Or these ones will
make it
them
a circle.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just do different things just to be like, hey, whatever. And if you have enough stickers, like, the thing is, we don't have 3 Finger Betty business cards, just like I don't have Audible Farm business cards, but like I feel like these are good enough to be a business card. If you really want to get it crazy with it, you can put a QR code on it or something like that to get real nuts with it. But at the same time, these work great for like, just to be like, hey, here you go, this is the thing. Carry them in your pocket, and someone's like, you're at a show and they're like, aren't you the guy from 3 Finger Betty? And you're like, yes, I am. Here's a sticker. Like, just I do that with like Audible Farm stuff. Anybody says anything about it, it's just like, wham, here you go. Yeah, I'm that guy here. Thanks. Appreciate you listening. Yep. But I don't know.
That's also weird when something like that happens.
It is odd. It is odd. One of the things I've heard on podcasts recently from a couple people This is more for like singer-songwriter type shows or whatever. So if those people are still listening, here's the deal. So like you get stickers, you try a bunch from a different company or whatever. That most of them have deals. You can get deals on things, and you just buy a deal worth of stickers, and then you just use those as business cards. But you can do them. I've seen people doing the tip jar thing, where like if you get a good enough deal on your stickers, they cost less than $1 a piece, and nobody's going to tip you less than $1. They're usually going to come up and give you $1 or more. Mm-hmm. So like if that's the thing, you're making money on them if they put $1 in the tip jar. So you just put your stickers up there, leave a tip, take a sticker. You know,
simple.
Yeah. So anybody that walks up to tip anything walks away with something.
Yeah, and I'd like at our merch, if you buy anything, I'm probably going to give you at least 2 stickers.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, we have CDs and T-shirts and all sorts of stuff. So like a lot of times the margin's good enough where it's like, all right, I made $1 on this or something close to it, so I can just at least throw a sticker in there with it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to hurt me any, you know. And again, like you said, it's more like a business card than anything. If you don't want to look at it as like something you're selling, because we do have stickers for sale, and there's usually a handful of designs, but you know, a lot of times, given the right scenario, we'd kind of just use them like business cards, you know, which is not a wrong way to do any sort of marketing, you know. Also, I think about that with like Three Finger Buddies. Not like the only other thing to do really would be like run online ads, because it's not like you'd have to print out a flyer for it, and it'd be weird to have a flyer like you're like flyering cars with. Like you'd really have to be descriptive about what it is, and not because people just
I
be
don't
like,
think people do that much anymore.
Dude, it would work, but holy cow, the expense of it all would be the big thing, you know. And I'm sure there's certain places where you actually need like proper permits to do that. So like you'd have to pay to do it.
Like back in the day, you know, you got permission, or maybe you didn't. You stood outside the venue, and when it was over, this happened. It was at the Bad Religion show, and some people we know, I won't say who it is because they were not probably supposed to do this, but one of their guitar players came up to me, were saying hi, and he handed me a flyer for their next show. He was in the show, and
that's
like, you know, whatever. When I went to the bathroom, they left them like all over the bathroom.
That's funny. Yeah, the flyer thing's great, but it did generate a lot of litter. I do remember that at, you know, going to bigger shows, you go to like, you know, whatever, Milwaukee or Chicago or whatever, and there'd be places you go, and then you'd see like people, like you said, you'd be walking back to your car in between like the venue and your parking garage. They'd have people just like hucking out like little demo CDs or like, you know, here's a flyer to the show. It's like, I'm not from here, so I'm not going, you know, whatever. But
get 10 feet away and you see them all on the ground.
Yeah, just everywhere, you know. And then you think about like how much did that cost and how many people actually came to the show, and I don't know, that'd be a tough way to do it. But like I think the best way, like I've seen flyers, was if you like come out and it's like under your car windshield. Also annoying, but at the same time, I've taken more of those and looked at them, because I feel like if somebody's going to go through the trouble to do that, a lot of times this is going to sound crazy, it was wrestling shows. So like you go to a wrestling show and you see flyers for like another wrestling show. That didn't happen very often, because I remember people kind of got in a rough spot over whether or not that should be allowed. But you know, again, maybe people didn't have permits or whatever it was. I don't remember what the problem was, but yeah, I do recall people being outside, even local shows. Like back in the day, you go to Dark Mirror and you'd be playing, and then afterwards you'd leave and somebody would leave you a flyer.
Somebody from, of course, I just blanked on any other metal band that was around at the time.
Oh yeah, I can see a couple of them, but
the Anunnaki or somebody's there.
Yeah, here you go. You know, and Vaudeville Muse had the little entryway with a pile of them just sitting there.
Yeah,
Lefties has got like a table with some of them.
That's I like that a lot better. I don't know. I don't I don't print a lot of flyers. I print some. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I put them up at music stores and CDs and places that'll let you.
Yep.
You know, but I don't usually get the small ones and do anything like that.
No, I mean, that's a lot. It depends on the show, because I know we have done something like that.
I've done it in the past.
But it's, again, like for just like a local show, it's usually not as worth it as it used to be. You know, going online and just making a post every week, you know, for the month leading up to it is sometimes the better option. Or like creating an event and engaging with people in there to let them know you're excited for the show and you're going to be there. It's going to be fun, you know, like that's another thing. So there's different things you can do, like other than literally just like flyering a show. But I do miss it. I do miss having like light posts with like 80 billion staples in them and stuff. Like, I don't know. I thought that was fun. Whatever.
The battle for space on the bulletin board.
Yeah. Oh man. It just, there's something about like, I think about like how many venues you went to and there was just like stickers all over the backside of street signs. And then eventually the street sign gets taken down and then a new one comes up and then it's just a couple months later, there's just stickers all over it again.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's another good thing about using stickers this way. It's still kind of a little fun to vandalize public property.
Audible Farm does not endorse the vandalization of public property. I'm just kidding.
Like I remember when I went on a vacation, I made sure I stickered every single rest stop there and back.
Oh yeah, hilarious. I've found certain places to stick them that are like better than others. A lot of times like street lights, like the corners of like outside of venues mostly. I try to stay as adjacent to something as I can. Or the other thing is like I always have stickers with me. So like if I see any stickers anywhere, I'm just like,
yep,
mine's going there too. So like anything remotely close to stickers being on anything, I'm going to put one of mine there too, at least. But yeah, otherwise, like at venues, it's like I'm rarely the person to sticker something first, but I can think of a few locations that I did sticker first that now they're like insanely stickered. Example, the toilet at Lefty's. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, it was me first, but like one of the urinals, maybe someone had one on one of the other urinals. But I started like getting weirdly obsessed with putting stickers on urinals because I'd done it in a few other locations and it kind of took off. But like that's one that's just like wall to wall stickers now.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
covered.
It's freaking awesome looking as far as I'm concerned. Probably a pain in the butt to want to wash, but still like hilarious. Oh God. I love that kind of stuff. It just looks cool to me, I guess. I don't know. They just, maybe was that like a 90s thing to have stickers all over everything, or
I don't
was
know.
it just an adolescent thing?
It's just a thing. One thing I noticed around here, I've never done this, is if you go through the drive-thrus, depending on where you are, you'll see a lot of stickers somebody just slapped right under the pass-through.
Well, I didn't think about that. Yeah. I had seen like parking cones, like those like circular plastic like cylinders that you park up against. I've seen those have stickers on them before. So like there have been some certain situations where it's like, oh, if somebody pulls in here, they're going to look at this sticker. You know, it's like, oh, that's kind of ingenious way to, place to stick it. I've stuck them on like guitar cases and stuff, but my guitar case is pretty much full. So I am covering up stickers with new stickers now. So I don't have another one I want to put them on, but I do have a collection of stickers I've gotten from other places, though. You and me were talking about this before the podcast. That's kind of why this is fresh and I'm talking about it. But yeah, there's stickers out in the other room. You were showing me some of yours. It's like, I don't even know what some of these are. And I'm kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
I got a few stickers where it's like, I don't even know how I ended up acquiring these.
Yeah,
you know?
Got a bucket of stickers.
Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, if you got pull anything out of this podcast, go get some stickers. It's kind of been something top of mind. People have been talking to me about, and I've kind of been blabbing with others about. We were talking about it here too. So, let's see what we got here on time. How much time we got? Because I want to talk about.
I've let you ramble plenty.
Yeah, we are about an hour, and I think most of this is me blabbing. But I do want to talk a little bit.
I'm on color over here.
This is a solo episode featuring John. That's hilarious. So you're still doing the 3-Finger Betty thing. You're still doing the Sleepover thing. You're doing the Morbo thing. That people.
I will be back to doing these things.
Yes. And those are the 3 projects you're in right now?
Yes.
Okay. You have worked on other things in the past. I don't think we've talked about them on the podcast, but I know you've done some let's call it studio work as well in the past, haven't you, with Jared Harp?
Yes.
Okay. So.
We've done, what are we up to? Like 5 or 6 songs, and it's Danny Price, who is the singer and the songwriter, and we are the Economic Collapse Band.
Oh, cool.
And it's Jared lays down drums and bass, and then I come in with like guitar leads and stuff like that.
Okay.
And we do it at his studio, which has taken off pretty good. No Such Sound. He's got Americature, and he's kind of the man right now in Des Moines.
Yeah,
I would say.
He recorded Love Bombs EP as well. So Love Bombs from up in the Fort Dodge area.
His ska band Lamp is on tour currently for a few days, I believe.
Cool. More Cheese.
More Cheese has done a few. They were down in Austin. They went down south.
Yeah, they do. I don't want to say like frequent mini tours, but they've done at least one a year, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's pretty cool too, to like take some time out to be like, well, let's take a week and let's find 4 or 5 places and just drive between them and just
go.
You get to hang out in the town overnight, or like in, during the day before the show, and find a place to eat and hang out with people. And again, that's the other fun thing about going to other places. I remember playing a show in Omaha once. It's like, where's good? And they're like down the block,
Down
like
the road.
right there. It's like 3 blocks away. You can walk to it. And it was like cool. And you walk over there. It's like, this was freaking amazing. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, that was good. I've done that a couple times with.
Yeah, I got pointed to a really good pizza place last time. I don't remember what it was.
Nice. Yeah.
But it was great.
Dude, that's the funniest thing. I recall eating a couple good pizzas in a couple places too. And I don't remember I remember being in Chicago once and eating really good pizza once. And I don't recall anything about it other than it was good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Going out on the road, playing those shows. Sorry, I'm just kind of rambling here.
No.
But yeah, so we got those 3 projects plus a 4th one. What's the deal with this one? Is this just going to be like a studio thing?
Yeah, I don't see it ever being live. Danny Price and the Economic Collapse Band, it's online. You can find it. He has a YouTube channel.
Cool.
It's on the streaming.
Sweet. I'll have to look that up and put links to that down below, because I do believe I can still find some Morbo links. I found them the other day. I'll find them again.
Yep. Morbo hasn't changed.
Yep. So we'll put all that down below. We'll put Three Finger Betty. We'll put the Sleepover. And we'll put this new project that may or may not ever play live, but new project. We'll put some of that stuff up there too, because it's cool to know that you're out there doing things other than just the stuff that people might know about.
And that's a fun one too, because it's like, well, these aren't my songs. What am I supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just add whatever you want and whatever kind of feels right.
Yep.
And it is kind of fun to do that, where like it's almost like everybody's going to color a coloring book together. It's just like, all right, I'm going to paint the sky and you're going to paint the ground, and you do the house and you do the animals or something. And it's just like, you just trust the other person's going to do what they want and that they're not going to go too crazy. But sometimes when they do go crazy, it looks good.
What's also fun about that is usually I end up doing my parts last. So not only am I trying to add to the song, I'm also reacting to how Jared interpreted the song.
Oh, yeah.
Because his tracks are already there.
Yeah. So
I've got to,
So he's already established both parts of the rhythm, and you have like what I would call the basic chord structure and stuff. The basic feel coming from the singer-songwriter already as well.
And so I gotta
just gotta fit
put
in the
something
middle
on that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Find the holes or the gaps where you can add the diddly bits, and that's kind of how I always looked at music. It's like, where can I add wheedly things where I won't stand in the way. But yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think about that. Like, depending on where you're inserted in the mix to add your part and to be exposed to the songs is kind of mind-blowing too. So all right, yeah, I'll put links to that down below.
Yep, that's good stuff.
And any other projects? I think those were the ones that I know of.
No, not really.
All right, that's a no, not really.
Always coming up with something, but
yeah,
whether it turns into anything or not,
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, shit kickers, no.
I don't think much is going on there.
All right,
unless Kale hears this and
decides
says something is.
But he did come out to the show at Maggie's Rumble Room and sang along
he
with
did
us.
come sing one of our songs.
Yeah, that's super cool, because that was one that was a shit kicker song first.
Yes.
And we ended up playing it as well. And that was funny, because I was like, we started playing, I was like, oh snap, I haven't played this song in a while. All right, here we go. Like
our last 5 practices, I think, were shows.
Yes, well, not quite, but close. Honestly, like it is fun to see how tight we still are, though, because like we used to do 50 practices a year, at least, plus playing 50 shows a year. So we played so much that we were so tight, and there's like so many songs that are just burned in our heads. But I will say we did take a break. Well, whatever, I don't remember what happened, but we took like a 2, 3, 4 month break.
I broke my hand last year.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so when we finally got back together, there were a few songs where it's like we all kind of just looked at each other like, yeah, I forgot how this goes. Like we all were kind of like, doesn't it go like this? And it's like, no, doesn't it? And then like by the time we went to the next practice, I don't know if anybody rehearsed anything, but it was normal again.
Yeah, everything was fine.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing ever. I remember leaving practice just like, jeez, this is gonna be wild next week, and then you get a rehearsal in the day before the show, and you're like, it's
gonna be just fine.
It's gonna be fine. We crushed it, nothing's weird. So yeah, that's playing with the same people long enough, you know, even if you change one of them, which we changed the bassist, you know, but like it's still good enough. You know, we've played together enough shows. I don't know. Shout out to Geoff, you know, playing bass. He always tries to hide in the corner.
Yep, he's the butt of the joke, unfortunately.
Dude,
he deserves his props.
Dude, he's the man. It's so funny. Sometimes I'll be like, "You ready for the show?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm kind of nervous." And it's just like, "What? We're gonna crush it out there. What are you talking?" You know, I'm just trying to like pump him up, and he's you know, just normally not that kind of guy. You know, so I'm trying to just get him all jacked up on my side of the stage because we're usually on the same side. Or I'll just like go up to him, I'll be playing like, yeah.
Get him to laugh a little bit.
Yeah, give it up for Jeff on the bass. Oh my gosh, so fun. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, it's fun playing shows with you, man. I still enjoy coming down here playing shows, and hopefully we can, you know, get back to doing some rehearsals and stuff. And it's just one of those things, you know, life happens to everybody, and life just
We'll get there.
Yeah, life comes first always, man. You know?
I'm not going to go into the details unless you really want them.
No.
Of the health issues, but the next time we play live, hopefully I'll like be looking all fucking good and shit.
Yeah. Dude, trust.
Like in shape enough, I could take my shirt off if I wanted to.
Oh wow!
I do not want to.
I do not want to. I don't really want to either. You know, but
I am not the drummer.
Yeah, that's true. They have an excuse to do that because they're flailing all over the place. But dude, it's been really good sitting down and getting talked with you and stuff. And you know, there's the cat.
This is Shadow, by the way.
One last time.
You want to get back on
camera? You gonna come up here? All right, last time on camera. Here's Shadow, everybody. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thanks, John. I appreciate you sitting down and talking with me about this stuff because this, you know, I didn't really want to talk too deep about what was going on, but you know, it's kind of nice to just let people know, hey, shows are on pause for a little bit, but you still are working on all this stuff, you know. And
like I'm not playing like for the next couple of weeks much, but you know, I'm not going to stop.
Exactly. So, yeah, man, just keep going out there, and I'm looking forward to the next Three Finger Betty shows because these out of town shows they're a hoot. You never know who you're going to run into or what you're gonna find. It's always something new out there. All right, that's it.
Can I plug something?
Do it.
April 26th at the Dark Slide from Omaha, the River City Rejects are coming to town.
Oh yeah.
And Old Dogs is a local band, and Dead Don't Die is a local band. I'm just kind of hosting the thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, River City Rejects are. We played shows with them. They're fun.
Very good guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've helped us out in the Omaha scene, Council Bluffs area. Yeah. So go to that show. It's gonna be tons of fun.
All ages.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, Dark Slide shows are some of the best shows. Like, and this is going to sound crazy. It reminds me of, we're going to keep going. It reminds me of the old days. We played a show at the Dark Slide. I don't think the podcast was going when we played it.
Yeah, you hadn't brought that back yet.
Dude, ice cold, like snow everywhere, negative whatever outside. It was ice cold. And pull up to the show, backside of the mall, load in through the back. It was super cool. You know, it's one of those like, oh, I get to go behind the scenes here and do this, you know, whatever. Whatever. Anyway, so we play this show. But they were like, and since it's an all ages show and it's a skate shop and people go into the skate shop still. Oh yeah. Since people still go into the skate shop, there were tons of kids in there. There were skaters and stuff that came by just to check the show out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say like kids, but they were like teenagers. You know, which is like, this is what I was doing when I was a teenager. This is so cool. You know, I was looking at these bands like, whoa, these guys are so cool, you know, and it just like warmed my heart. I remember there was a couple kids that got a picture with me, and I gave my pick to one of them.
Nice.
Gave a sticker to some of them. You know, oh, you guys got stickers or anything? I was like, here's a sticker. Yeah. Oh, sweet. You know, it's like, it just felt really kind of cool to just like be like, yeah, I was kind of like that. You know, as a kid, just going to these shows like, you guys are awesome. How do you make music? It's so cool. You know, and then hopefully you inspired some people to go play more shows, but. Or to go start playing music or something.
It.
Yeah.
And the Dark Slide is a good place to go buy records if you're into that.
Yes. Skateboard
records,
stuff. I mean, they have
toys.
They have a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
there.
it's a big store.
Yeah, when I went in there originally, I was just like, okay, skate shop, but like I didn't know, skate shops are like more than just skateboards and wheels. You know, like there's a lot of cool stuff there, and it was really kind of fun to just walk through the store after we set everything up and see what was there. They have a fun Instagram, fun Facebook. They post a lot. So if you're into skating and that kind of thing, that's definitely what you want to check out. Dark Slide in Des Moines. I believe there might be another location somewhere else, maybe, but
they do a lot of stuff online.
That's what it is. So check them out if that's what you're into. Check out that show if you want to go check out a cool show. That'll be tons of fun because, like I said, it's in the mall. One of the funnest things, I remember somebody like going out, getting food and coming back. And they're like eating food at the show because they got food at the mall. And I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Like, how cool would it be to go like, and then like, or you just like go into the mall and you like go to the skate shop and you like watch a show and you're like, wait, I need some new penny loafers. And you just like go to
buy shoes.
Whatever the heck. And then you come back and check it out when it's, I don't know. It's just the concept of that is freaking fun to me. Or people just walking by like, what the heck is going on? They just like walk in like, whoa. Like, I don't know. That's just fun to me. So yeah, check those shows out. Just go to the mall. Find something else to do if you're not really super into music, but you're listening to this. Just make a day out of it. So yeah, check that show out. I always love those types of shows. It's like a DIY meets local place that you wouldn't normally assume.
Non-traditional venue.
Bingo. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, man.
This is the type of thing like on the West Coast they do every fucking day.
Oh yeah, it's very normal.
We should be able to do it here.
Yeah. Hence the reason we said yes to punk rock tacos.
Yeah.
You know, it's like yeah, I'll come play this taco restaurant. Like,
yeah, that's a thing.
Why not? So yeah, dude, it's always fun having you around. It's always fun, playing shows with you. Hope you're on the mend, and let's get out there and play some shows later.
Yep.
Woo woo!
All right.
There we go. There's the end of the episode. John's such a fun guy to sit down and talk with. I got to listen to the masters for the Three Finger Betty album. Doesn't sound too bad. So maybe that'll be coming out soon. You never know. Yeah, while John's on the mend, hopefully we'll get back out there to playing some shows with Three Finger Betty live. Just make sure you follow all the links down below. I've got all that stuff, including the studio stuff he was recording as well. We talked a little bit about Morbo. Morbo's been on the podcast way back in the day. Go back and listen to that one. Morbo's so funny. The Morbo show, there was a couple episodes of that somewhere hanging out on the internet as well. It's just hilarious stuff. I think that's one of the things John values the most about playing music is he just wants to have fun, and I guess success, it seems like he's having a good time playing music, and he's out there in more bands than ever, and it's just one of those things. I think it's fun that the people that I spent time around kind of when I was like growing up playing music or whatever, the more stuff they get into, and the more projects they start and things like that. It's just kind of neat to watch the people around me grow and evolve, just as I am, I hope, I guess. So yeah, make sure you follow along with John Waugh's journey with the bands below. And I got to say thanks to him for joining me for the podcast. And I got to say thanks to the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Make sure you check out their podcast. It's called FDT. That's FDTEA. It stands for Fort Dodge Thoughtful Exchange About the Arts. And it's a fun podcast. Shelley Bodorf leads it. She interviews different people. I kind of hang out on the side and every now and then chime in. I feel like she's the Conan O'Brien and I'm the Andy Richter, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of the person on the side of the couch just being like, and what about this? And I like to just softball some questions in there sometimes too. So it's a fun one for all of us involved. I get to go to different locations and try new things. So check that podcast out as well. It's on their YouTube channel. Fun locations being recorded at, nice backdrops. I think that's one of the funnest parts about that podcast is the backdrops are always pretty neat, depending on where we're at. So check that out. It comes out the first Friday of every month, and check out their website. That's down below as well. Also, if you guys are looking for anything Audible Farm, we got social media links down below. There's a shop. There's Patreon if you want to watch the episodes early. I do actually, if you guys are watching on video, you probably noticed the hat. Maybe last week somebody noticed the hat. I don't know. I'm wearing an Audible Farm hat. That's pretty cool. I do got to give a shout out to Lee Klett, who made these hats for me. I had him on a podcast a while back, and we talked about hats and talked about merch. And he was talking about how he kind of made his own merch, and I've actually owned some stuff that he's made. So I was just like, hey, let's give it a whirl, see what happens. That's how it happens, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you just gotta, for anybody that's listening, like, how do you know these people or how do you meet these people? You just talk to somebody, and I'm doing, the legwork there. You just listen to the podcast. Just hit up Lee Klett if you want to make a hat. I don't know. I just was like, hey, can you make me a hat? Yeah, what do you want on it? This. I'm like, okay, what kind of hat? How about this one? Sure, I can get that. Okay. And away we went, and that's just kind of how it works. And I think that's one of the funnest parts about the music scene, just kind of, there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of different stuff, and this is a lot of DIY projects and people putting a lot of their time and effort into this. And maybe some people are learning some new tricks along the way and, why not pitch them a couple of bucks and everybody's happy in the end. You get to benefit off of the fact that Lee Klett knows how to make hats. That's pretty cool. I mean, he's not actually making the hat, but he's putting the logo on there, and it's pretty cool. So if you're looking for these hats in the online shop, it's not going to be available. I only have a small handful of them, and if you just track me down, I'll sell you a hat. I usually have them with me or somewhere nearby, or send me a message. That's the easiest way to do it. I've had a few people message me and already put their hats on hold, so that way the next time I see them at a live show, I can bring it to them. So that's pretty cool, actually. There's people putting hats on hold, like, yeah, here's the money, save me one. It's like, all right, that's cool. So if you want a hat, yeah, just hit us up. We'll get you a hat. Just send us a message on social media, and we'll get that taken care of. Otherwise, yeah, if you're just here and you're like, I don't know what to click on, you talked about too much, just go to audiblefarm.com. You can find the good stuff there. You can watch the video versions of the podcast right there as well, too. So audiblefarm.com, that's where everything else is at. Peace, everybody.